You know that feeling when someone says something so obvious it makes you stop and think, why didn't I see that? That's exactly what happens when you compare millennials to Gen Z. Because while millennials are often stuck in the narrative of being the burnout generation, Gen Z is out here proving that they're not just surviving, they're thriving. First, let's talk about resilience. Millennials grew up during the 2008 financial crisis, a global recession, and economic instability. But Gen Z, they've been through it, and they've come out stronger. Why? Because while older generations were told to hunker down and wait for things to get better, Gen Z was taught, no, forced to adapt, pivot, and find solutions in real time. They entered the workforce during a pandemic, learned remote collaboration overnight, and now they're leading industries with skills that millennials are only just catching up on. Then there's their approach to work. Millennials were told to grind, but Gen Z, they've flipped the script. They're not just working harder, they are working smarter. Studies show Gen Z is more likely to prioritize mental health, demand flexible work environments, and seek careers that align with their values, something older generations often had to fight for. But here's the kicker. They're also the first generation to grow up with AI as a tool, not just a buzzword. They treat technology like an extension of themselves, using it to automate tasks, learn faster, and innovate without fear. But maybe what's most impressive isn't their skills or work ethic, it's their mindset. Millennials were raised on the idea that you climb the ladder. But Gen Z is building ladders they want to climb. They're more entrepreneurial than any generation in history, more open to unconventional paths, and less afraid of failure because they see it as feedback, not a dead end. So what can millennials, and really all generations, learn from them? It's not about abandoning the lessons of the past, it's about borrowing their adaptability. Gen Z didn't wait for permission to change the game. They just started playing by new rules. And if you want to stay ahead, you better start asking yourself, what am I doing today that my generation did 20 years ago? This isn't about one generation being better than another, it's about progress. And right now, Gen Z is leading the charge. So instead of shaking your head at their lazy work ethic or their obsession with social media, ask yourself, what can I learn from them? Because if you don't, you might just get left behind. Drop a comment and tell me, what's one thing you think Gen Z is doing better than older generations? And if you're part of the millennial generation, or older, what's your biggest takeaway from their approach? Let's have this conversation.